Alright guys, welcome to Zarnot Gaming. Today we are going to be taking a look at Vindicta's Quest, the Journey to 7K. And let's go ahead and jump right in. So looking at encounter number 1, we have not taking any damage and not spawning any summons. So that means that we can bring Bellator and we can bring, obviously, Yark, but this might not be the best option. So I did first get a full clear here using Morven and Thaddeus, but then I thought I should go with some more basic units for everyone to be taking a look at. That way that this can be a more universal ideal. Now, when looking at the character selection screen down at the bottom, it is worth noting that any hero with a banner on the left side of them, which there aren't any in here because no hero is excluded from this, is going to be someone we can use. So I'll be taking a look at that more closely later. I'm moving Certus over to the bottom center so that he can move into a position where he's going to be able to use his Overwatch intentionally to kill the death mark coming up here. And so we move over, Varro comes down, and the Overwatch takes care of that guy. We go ahead and we move Vindicta up, and now we're using her active. We did it the first turn, and we actually go in and we do some work with Varro's active, and then finish up with the 3 range from Certus. And that's a perfect score using 3 very basic units I do think everyone has access to. So then we're going to move right along to common counter number 2. And this is a bugged encounter, in case any of you guys have been paying attention on the Discord. So the idea is that this encounter, you're only supposed to be able to use heroes with attacks that have 3 or more hits. However, certain heroes, such as Yarrick, you can see here, doesn't have the banner on the left side of his avatar. You can see in the top left corner of Bellator and in Thaddeus and in Vindicta, as well as Morvenval and Sudan, that they all have that little banner up, right here in the top left side of their avatar, and that means that they meet the requirements for the quest. Now, what we know is that Yarrick's melee attack also meets the requirements for this quest mission, but that it's not allowing him. And another affected character is the new festival trial hero, Roswitha. So we're looking at 4 scarabs down on the bottom, and Isabel actually has enough hits to come in, so we can actually pull a healer because we don't have the common requirement of not taking any damage here, so we can get a perfect score as long as we end at full health. I will be using Thaddeus in a lot of these levels. Vindicta starts in the bottom left and uses her active right away. And I believe we use the active of him as well. No, he goes and takes out a scarab, and she takes out 1 as well. So she takes a hit. They both take hits, but as you can see, they both get automatically healed to full health by Isabel's passive, which is why she's so great for these missions if you have her. And we go ahead and we start wiping them down, and we use her heal on herself. We're going to go ahead and use his active now. We wipe some of them down, and we move in. If we had not been able to do that, we would have had to move her over to the left and finish the back row with Thaddeus after she took out the front units. But as you can see, another perfect score. Moving right along to encounter 3, which you can see I got 499 on here my first time going. We're looking at using all ranged units or units with a ranged attack. And we're going to be bringing Thaddeus and Yarrick. I'll stop right here just to say that I will always try to use the most basic units in my quests. However, I'm not sure that everything here is perfectible using the most basic units. Thaddeus is someone I need to use a lot. Stick around to the end of this video, and I will be talking about an upcoming Thaddeus giveaway, hopefully coming very soon, where I'll be able to give a lucky player away a Thaddeus Noble. But in the meantime, working with what I got here, we start with with Yarrick summon on the flare right in front of us. And then we're going to go ahead and move up, get unlucky with the reanimation. If I had not gotten that reanimation there, I would have been able to move Vindicta up 2 spots and where the dead Necron warrior had been, and she could have used her action from there, hitting the right side once and hitting the top side once. Instead, I have to wait another turn, take some damage with my heroes, move her up, and you're allowed to damage your own summons. That's never a big deal, as long as your main heroes end with full health. So I kill one of my own summons, and there we go, 500 out of 500. And we're working our way through very quickly. And on to common encounter number 4, where, the only requirement is not to take any damage. Meaning that all of our heroes meet the requirement, and this is going to be our first 4 deploy encounter. So, summoners are obviously a go-to, and I'm trying to think of who else I should bring. Bounce between Thaddeus, and it actually looks like Tigurius because we have a lot of clustered enemies where his AoE might be beneficial. Obviously, he is Iron 1 and level 8 on his active for me. So bringing characters scaled to the cap of that encounter is probably a good idea. I'm going to get some summons out right away from both my heroes down near the bottom. I'll move Thaddeus away, or Tigurius away, and I actually move him into the thorns and use his smite and take out these 3 enemies with Vindicta. And then the summons just soak all the damage. Not a big deal. And we have just the flayers left. It looks like I get a guaranteed kill with Bellator, and then moving up and get a guaranteed kill with Yarrick as well. And so there we go, first attempt in. And we're looking at, I've been seeing a lot of questions lately for what kind of rewards are in the quests. A lot of people didn't start the game right away. So right there, you saw some of the rewards out of a chest. I do show some of those throughout here, just because I see a lot of people asking, what was the quest like? What kind of rewards were there? How did the encounters work? And so now I want to be able to have in this video a little bit more information for people who are coming in for the next quest that missed out on this one. Here we go on encounter number 5, and it looks like no bolter damage. Another common misconception I'm seeing on the official Discord is they're going, hey, it says I need to have bolter damage, but Vindicta doesn't have it. So if you do look, there is a small red X in the bottom right. So that's saying no bolter damage, not that you need bolter damage. And then the second indicator, of course, will be that any of the heroes, again, with the little banner in the top right, are going to have are going to be eligible in the top left. So I'm actually bringing Insisius for this quest because if you saw, I had another like 497 out of 500 or something, and it turns out that I needed a healer. I was bringing a damage dealer in that slot before, and it didn't do me any good. So a little bit of a Celestine showcase. We go ahead and we wreck through some heroes here. We're using the fire in the bottom to stop that flare from connecting on the next turn. A lot of these maps, obviously this is a showcase for Vindicta, right? So what's that mean? We have a lot of AoE clustered units that we can make decisions on. Like if Vindicta was standing where Insisius is, she could hit, it's considered a ranged when your tiles aren't adjacent because of elevation and a barrier. So if you're standing where Insisius is and she attacks the enemy above Thaddeus, that AoE is going to hit all 3 of those enemies and none of your own units, because your own units aren't in adjacent tiles, they're in tiles next to it. I don't know what the wording is. You'll see some abilities affect things in different ways. Sometimes it's all surrounding tiles. That's what it is. They're in a surrounding tile, but not an adjacent tile. And because of that, she could also then turn on the second function of her active and attack the unit above Celestine. So definitely another option for this map would be to put Vindicta right where Insisius is. use her active, hit the enemy above Thaddeus, then the enemy above Celestine, and then you have all 4 of your other units to worry about the enemies down on the bottom and getting them knocked out and using heals. So there's definitely some options here, but they're all sort of designed to showcase Vindicta, which means blocking with fire and using an AoE. I go ahead, I use the Tigurius active, I nail 3 of the enemies, hit with Celestine, hit with Thaddeus, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pass turn. Comes and attacks Thaddeus for 1 damage. I attack the guy in the bottom, he gets his reanimation off, so the first thing I want to do before killing everyone is heal. So you'll see I actually healed Thaddeus right before he moved down and finished with an overkill. And now we'll go ahead and we'll weaken and get the overkill on Celestine, finishing for a perfect 500 out of 500 for this level as well. And that brings us to our uncommon encounters. So now all of your heroes are going to be scaled down to actives level 16 and bronze 1 gear ranks. And we're looking at no psychers and no summons for this level. And we're also looking at a 3 deploy you can see there in the top left. So that means we're only going to drop 3 heroes, but we only have 6 enemies. We're now getting uncommon badges, as well as continuing to get Vindicta shards, as well as some XP books as our 1, 2, and 3 medal rewards. So here's our 3 drop, and definitely considering some different options here. Obviously, Vindicta could start in the bottom left or bottom right and move and hit the center of our little nuclear sign of flares and try to take all 4 of them out in 1 hit. We have dry grass, which is going to get on fire and spread, and that's something you do have to be careful of on these maps to make sure that you're not harming your own units with fire and losing those precious points that are unlocking all of our chests. So I'm actually going to pull out Morven Ball for the first time here, I believe. Sorry, my screen keeps doing that. It's such a weird thing. I'm not really sure what's going on. And Morven Ball, a little showcase for her. She just absolutely destroys those 4 flares. But like I said, you had some options. I think you easily could have, without using any summons, knocked 1 down with Thaddeus and used Overwatch from Certus on the other, from high ground, any number of things. But we collect our badges and we keep on moving on. I think we have another chest coming here. And we're looking at raid tickets, gold, more tomes, more uncommon badges, uncommon orbs. So remember, we get quests every other week. So these are a great tool to get some different tiers of badges and to get some different tiers of orbs. So if you've been struggling, like, oh, I accidentally ascended, Certus or Insisius because I had no idea that Insisius was the worst hero in the game, and now everyone's telling me that I need uncommon Vindicta. Well, here's your orbs that you're going to need to get her. So we're looking at just deploying the Adeptus Sororitas faction here. This is admittedly one of the hardest requirements to be able to meet if you have not been purchasing any requisition pods. But if you do have 3 of these girls here, and everyone has 2, and I know Vindicta's been pretty common out there, but actually go ahead and without using Isabella and heals at all, we will go ahead and just knock them down as Morven Ball. It's just kind of extremely cool AoE there. So with their Sanctum missiles, Sanctorum missile, whatever it is. And grabbing another chest right away. This time just a little bit lower tier, some common items. And we move on to uncommon encounter number 3, which looks like attacks max of 4 hits. So we know right away that's going to mean no Bellator. And most of our heroes probably meet those requirements other than Bellator. We're looking, looks like Brother Burchard has a 6-hit ranged bolter attack. I haven't played around with the Black Templars at all yet. So mine are sitting at Stone Rank 1 and level 1 with no upgrades on them at all. But we got an interesting map layout here. Again, clusters of enemies for Vindicta to pick apart. We don't get summons from Bellator, but we can get summons from Yark. I could have brought a healer here. Retrospect, that might have saved me some pain if I had. But it looks like I miss everyone with that his nobles active. So he's essentially a wasted hero. And now we're going to do something interesting. We're actually going to use Vindicta's active in melee and not get any AoE off of it at all. The theory here being that all the units on the left side of the map are going to attack my summons from Yark. So we're going to move her in here, and then we're going to use her second attack. And as it so happens, everyone attacks all of the summons from Yark. And so now we are looking at figuring out how to manipulate our movements so that we're not in melee range. That way we can make sure we get our guaranteed kills here using the smite, because this is our last level for lightning victory. So we're going to get that guy down, and she comes in and sweeps on the last hit. No extra moves. Definitely not the cleanest, but it got it done. And we get an ancient event crate, so a little bit bigger. You can tell it's a fancier looking box. We're getting rare Imperial orbs, rare badges, 3 shards, and an epic tome, so that's pretty neat. And we're well on our way. We have every single common and uncommon perfected so far. And for uncommon 4, all we need is to deploy all ranged heroes, which isn't very hard to do. We have plenty of them. And Morven Vol and Thaddeus with their blast damage, giving us lots of options for how to take out these scarabs in the bottom, but don't make the mistake of not seeing the barbed wire 2 spots under Thaddeus, because that's going to really impact your ability to move down. So we're going to move Morven Vol out of range of the enemies. We're going to move Thaddeus down, maybe. Then we're going to see what goes on with Vindicta first. She clears and she clears. And then we'll move Thaddeus and attack from high ground. We actually won't even use Yarrick or summon at all. So, and ooh, a double level up for both of my girls, Morven and Vindicta, leveling up. And do we have another chest coming? Not this time. So moving on to rare encounter number 1, which it looks like I got 1 medal on and did terribly on. We don't talk about that though. We need to use units that have a physical attack. This is really tough. There's only 4 Imperials I have with physical attacks, and I have, well, almost all of the Imperials. I'm missing some Black Templars. So the good news is that these are all base units who we haven't used for Indomitus, and therefore we probably have a little bit of upgrading done too, but it's unlikely that you necessarily got Tigurius or Certus up to Bronze 1. I didn't. I also most certainly didn't get them to level 26 on Max Rare. So, Bronze 1, I'm sorry, Silver 1. So definitely nowhere near Max Rare. We're going to go ahead and use Vindicta. And from the high ground, we overkill all of them, and there's no rezzing to happen. We go and we move Certus up, and we actually use his knockback. And this is where, if your team was a lot stronger than mine, and your Tigurius wasn't a level 10 active, but was like a level 22 active, you might be able to just clean them right here with his hit. I have no such luck. So they go and they whack-a-mole him, and I go and I actually finish right there. And you'll see that due to the damage that he sustained, I didn't finish them in time to get the lightning victory. Now, I could switch units and get the lightning victory, but then I wouldn't get the physical damage. Also, if my Kutsuran was really, really strong, he could have used his crack grenade in the top right on the clustered enemies there. And then Vindicta could have made short work of the south end enemies. So maybe you have some better options than I have. This level I chose to leave at 3 medals And I'm 400 at 500 points as I start to make decisions on how I'm going to best get to 7K and best spend my time and resources here. You'll see that I'm not going to get to 7,800. At this current point in time, I don't think that it's worth it for me to invest in certain heroes just to min-max some of these encounters. So moving on to rare encounter number 2, which we cannot have any summons in. And we see that we got 2 Necron Warriors, 4 Death Marks, and 2 sets of Scarabs coming our way. Now, as we take a look at this map, I definitely made some mistakes here the first time I played through. So I'm taking a real careful look on how I'm going to get this. But what I know is that I tried to take out, we only got 1 round here. So 1 round lightning victory, as I just pointed out. And so that's going to make this extremely difficult. And let's see what happens. So we have a bad reanimation at the top. Oh, I'm showing you the bad run. So I get reanimation up top. Bellator isn't strong enough to kill the guy on the right. I don't crit any one of those death marks. They go crazy. They beat the snot out of my Yark. A lot of not great things happening right there. And of course, remember, this is a no summons level, which not that summons are necessarily going to do me a lot of good here if I use them, because, you know, you only get 1 turn to get the win off, right? So speed right through this absolute terrible attempt where I lose my arc. And we're going to go straight into a retry and make some better decisions here. One thing I know is that with my Bellator's strength, he was not strong enough to kill that top Scarab. But the Scarab in the bottom right, he can attack from high ground. High ground meaning that his hits are going to take out the swarms more quickly, and I'm thinking that he's going to be able to get the 1-shot off if I go that way. And then I just need to get lucky with Yark in the top left, no reanimation protocol, and then Thaddeus takes out the Scarabs in the top right, and then all I need is for Vindicta to crit against the 3 death marks, and then, you know, with her active, and then finish off the Necron Warrior on the left. So it's a great theory. Let's see how it works out in practice. I go ahead and overkill. Perfect. Now all I need is to get crits on these guys and overkill them, and that just doesn't happen. So I kill them instead. I lose out. Now, I think with some RNG, I'm not sure how you're intending to beat this level with a perfect score in a 1 lightning victory. Seems like it's asking for a lot. I guess that you could use Morven Vol instead of Yarrick, and you could use her AoE on the 4 units in the center and then wipe them with Vindicta, but then you're not going to have anyone to kill the unit in the top left. And so you're going to miss your lightning victory there. I thought about it for a while. I decided that the only thing that I could think of that would work is really high RNG, or maybe a really, really strong Tigurius, like a level 26 max rare Tigurius, just wrecking those 4 middle guys with his active, but I don't have that. And so this is another level that I've now gotten my 3 medals on. I get my rare badge, but I go ahead and I leave it at 400 at 500 again, grab a little chest here, and move on to rare encounter number 3. We are busting our way along through this adventure pretty quickly, though. No power damage. This is much more restricting than you would think. No Yark, no Morven Vol, no Soul Steam, cuts out a bunch of your summoning units. Can't use your Templars if you were planning on that. But we do get 5 deploy, and we got a lot of action happening here. But our only summoner we can bring is Bellator. However, we don't have to not take damage, so we don't have to rely on summons. because we can go ahead and use Isabella. So you can see I'm trying hard to figure out who I'm going to use where. We have a lot of units coming down from the top. Um, the rare encounters I struggle with so heavily here. You see me make 400 out of 500 choice twice now, but I got the 3 medals and I got all the rewards. All we're missing is that final chest. Tigurius doesn't do much there at my level. Bellator doesn't either. I do knock one out, and I put some fire up on the board on the left side. And I decide to pass turn. That way I can keep Isabella's passive right next to the units. And I go and I pull the Thaddeus active. My Thaddeus active is decently high level. I do a little bit of damage, but it's not perfect. Get myself some Bellator summons here and finish off melee with Vindicta, and then do a ranged attack and finish off with Isabella. Now, you actually have a lot of turns here to do this. My damage output just doesn't feel high enough. And so I'm looking here, I get a heal off and go AoE 5 of these units, and that is actually quite the crushing blow. And I think that right there, I'll back this up, was a mistake. Right after Vindicta's active, you see that I'm missing the guy on the bridge because bridges aren't adjacent. And I'm going to grab Thaddeus. I'm going to kill that guy up top. And I think that Thaddeus could have almost killed the guy on the left side. And I probably could have finished the guy who was up top with Bellator. And this guy I can't get to with Bellator. So I lose out on my lightning victory. Now, if I was short 100 points for 7,000 later, this would definitely be the level that I come back and get the lightning victory on. I have full health units. It seems very, very manageable. But I focus on the last 3 encounters, see if I can get there without it. And if I don't need it and I can't get to 7,800 anyways, there's no benefit past getting 3 medals and getting to the 7,000 chest. So here we are looking at epic encounter number 1, and we're looking at all ranged units on a 4-drop, and I pull Morven, Vindicta, Thaddeus, and Yark. Vindicta moves up and uses her active to knock 2 out. Think we go ahead and we create a wall of summons quite intentionally with Yarok to block my heroes. Take a little bit of damage on Vindicta. We're no longer going for perfect scores. But we get pretty close here, looking at 499 out of 500, and my second level up for Vindicta, as she's just getting pumped with experience here during these videos that I'm making. And no chest quite this time, but let's move right on to epic encounter number 2, where I've actually already gotten the 6,500 chest. It wasn't anything good. It was one of the small chests with just some raid tickets and a common Imperial badge. So this took me a couple of tries. I kept doing the bottom units and the left units with Vindicta, and then trying to wipe the top right with Yarok and Thaddeus and Morven Vol, all combined, then keeping Isabella as a healer, and the flayers in the top left just kept knocking somebody out. So you see I'm thinking about doing that again with Vindicta. But this time I changed my mind. I create a bunch of fire up there that Flare can't get through. I just knock everyone down. And remember, this is something everyone can do. Everyone can do what I just did, because everyone gets a max scale Vindicta for this level given to us by the game. It's beautiful. So now all you have to do is worry about blocking off the units down south. Our requirement here was no flying, so Bellator is the only hero you really can't use. So I create myself a wall of summons, as with always, and now we got fire on one side, summons on the other, and no one can get to my units to hurt them, and the summons just do all the work for me. And if they hadn't, if your Yark wasn't as strong as mine, you would very easily be able to do a lot of cleanup there with Vindicta. So we'll go ahead and exit and look at where we are. Rocking 6,999 out of 7,000 for our final chest. And then we got a whole legendary encounter left, and we're gonna get some badges, some orbs here, And we look like we're going to get some tomes and a legendary badge from this as well. And our requirement is, yeah, I got a lot of white stars. Our requirement is to use heroes with a max of 5 hits. So again, all they're doing here is limiting Bellator and Brother Burchard. So not a lot of limitations or restrictions on these levels. And it's a very interesting map that we're given here, where almost every hero is available, and we get 5. We get to bring a healer. My phone's dying. Not right now. This is recording. My phone was dying. I plugged it in. Don't worry. And we get a really cool map here, right? We get all this high ground in the bottom right that's divided by a tile of water. These are ranged enemies, though, so we definitely need to put some work in on them. And I'm trying to think about how I'm going to do that and how I'm going to use this high ground to my advantage for my very weak heroes to fight these White Star Necron soldiers. And so we take some hits with Vindicta, and that's all right because we have a healer with us, so we're definitely capable of getting a max score if we do some healing. Use some Thaddeus Captain Boom in the top right. I think we're going to move Vindicta to the right or to the left side and hit those 3. Yep, overkills all over. Now we have some summons out as well. And we just start moving people out of range of any upcoming enemies. Get some reanimation protocols, not the best luck. And start moving our heroes. Looks like I'm going the soft way, where we just let the Yark summons do the work, but Vindicta comes in and cleans off at the end. And all we miss is the lightning victory for another 400 out of 500 points. We get our legendary badge. Get some epic upgrade materials. And then taking a look at that 7,000 chest, it's actually the same chest you get for 7,800. So your badge could be legendary, and your badge could be epic or legendary, and your orb is legendary. And then looking here is an epic orb for the 7,800 with a badge that is either epic or legendary. And there you have it. That is Vindicta Quest all in one. I thank you guys all for watching. If you've watched all the way to the end, I'm going to try and figure out for the first time ever how to edit this so that you have little chapters where you can find and locate whatever you are looking for. I hope this helps everybody out. Spoiler alert, I am going to be doing a Thaddeus Noble giveaway. I'm going to be doing a preview of him as a hero, a walkthrough of his boss fight, and then we are going to have a contest where people get to like the video, comment, and subscribe to my channel and get entered on a wheel of names for a Thaddeus Noble Shard giveaway. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that, because I sure am. I appreciate you for tuning in to my Vindicta Quest journey to 7,000. I hope that it helps. And yeah, happy hunting out there, guys.